When my wife and I first moved into our country property, we thought we had left the petty politics of suburban neighborhoods behind. The land was ours, 5 acres of rolling greenery, and one of the first things I did was plant a thick, tall hedge along the eastern property line. It wasn't just for looks. It gave us privacy from the adjoining estate, a gaudy mansion owned by a woman the locals all referred to as Karen. I didn't think much of it at first. Everyone has a difficult neighbor story, right? How bad could it be? Well, let's just say Karen lived up to every stereotype. She was loud, controlling, and obsessed with appearances. She didn't just care about her lawn, she cared about everyone else's. If she thought a tree leaned too far, if she decided a fence wasn't painted in the right shade, or if she felt someone's flowers clashed with her landscaping, she'd swoop in with complaints, letters, or even confrontations. From the moment she realized we had planted a hedge, she made it her mission to let us know she disapproved. The hedge was my pride and joy. A thick wall of evergreens, perfectly lined, trimmed neatly, and tall enough to keep prying eyes away. But to Karen, it was an obstruction of beauty. She claimed it ruined the view from her kitchen, as though she had some God-given right to see into my yard whenever she pleased. The first time she approached me, she marched straight up our gravel drive in designer heels, sunglasses perched on her head like a crown, and said in her most condescending tone, "You'll need to take those down. They're not appropriate for this neighborhood." I actually laughed. "Ma'am, this is my property. The hedge stays." Her jaw clenched so tight I thought her veneers might shatter. She muttered something about not letting this go and stormed off. My wife and I rolled our eyes and went back to our weekend chores. We thought that was the end of it, but with Karen, nothing is ever that simple. Over the following weeks, little things started happening. Once I came home to find a note tucked under my doormat, written in looping cursive on expensive stationery. It read, "The hedge does not belong here. You've been warned." Another time, I noticed the tops of some shrubs had been snipped, just the tiniest trim, like someone had tried to make a point without fully committing to vandalism. I began to suspect Karen was sneaking onto our property, but I had no proof. Then came the day of the incident. It was a Saturday morning, and I was out in the barn checking on my tractor. We use it to mow the fields, move hay bales, and occasionally do heavy lifting around the property. From the open barn door, I heard the sound of clippers, then the unmistakable snap of branches. My stomach sank. I walked out toward the hedge, and sure enough, there was Karen, standing on my side of the property line, hacking away at the greenery with a pair of heavy-duty garden shears. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I shouted. She turned, not even guilty, just smug. "Fixing your mistake. This hedge is an eyesore, and I won't tolerate it anymore." I marched right up to her. "This is my hedge, on my land." "You're trespassing," she gave a snort and said, "Don't be ridiculous. This hedge is a blight. If you won't take it down, I will. You'll thank me later when your yard actually looks presentable." I could feel my blood boiling. "Drop the shears, Karen, and get off my property." She smirked, but finally tossed the clippers down and strutted away like she'd won some kind of victory. I picked up the shears and carried them back to the barn, muttering under my breath about the audacity of some people. But here's where fate, or maybe karma, stepped in. The following week, I had to mow one of the fields near the hedge. I climbed into my trusty tractor and started making passes along the property line. The hedge looked rough in places where Karen had hacked at it, but I figured I could let it grow back naturally. About 20 minutes into mowing, I heard the crunch of gravel and looked up to see Karen's silver Bentley creeping up along the road beside the hedge. She was idling there, watching me, arms crossed, her sunglasses flashing in the sun like the visor of some smug villain. I ignored her at first, focusing on my mowing. But when I swung the tractor around for another pass, she revved her engine and pulled forward, as if daring me to acknowledge her presence. Then, with deliberate malice, she steered closer, too close, to the hedge, her Bentley's side scraping branches I hadn't yet trimmed. "Are you serious?" I shouted over the engine noise, but Karen only smirked. As I maneuvered the tractor around, something caught. One of the freshly cut branches she had left jagged must have snagged against the Bentley's trim. Before I could even process what was happening, the motion of the tractor combined with the momentum of her creeping car created a sickening sound. A metallic screech. Karen slammed her brakes, but it was too late. A thick branch, stiff as a spear, dragged down the entire side of her car. When she tried to back up, it bent awkwardly, wedging under her wheel well. I froze, hands still gripping the tractor wheel as the branch finally snapped loose, leaving a gash down the length of her pristine luxury car.